The Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 meeting of the Sugar Land Development Corporation is called to order. First thing on our agenda is public comment. Do we have anybody in the audience who desires to speak? Do we have anybody signed up, Mr. Secretary?
No, sir.
Thank you. Next thing is number 3, minutes, consideration of and action on the minutes of the September 6th, 2022 meeting. We need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second? Okay, motion by McCutcheon, second by Kamali, all in favor. Are we voting? Are we doing? Okay, all in favor, vote. Well, just vote, okay? Okay, very good, thank you. Number 4, item 4, resolutions. Consideration of and action on Sugar Land Development Corporation Resolution Number S. Corporation adopting a policy on granting an economic development incentive for retention of office headquarters. Elizabeth Huff, Director of Economic Development. Elizabeth.
Good afternoon. The slight increase from 3 months ago, but although our competitors like the Energy Corridor and West Chase may be reporting similar vacancy and rents, they are offering significant contingencies and concessions for their office space, and where tenants are paying much less on rent or receiving free rent and getting significant tenant improvements and concessions for Class A office space and much newer buildings than what we have here in Sugar Land. So with that, want to be very proactive and aggressive in approaching our businesses to make sure that we keep them here in Sugar Land, because they are actively being poached from outside of the city. And so we wanted to come here and get approval for a $6,000 per job for any existing office headquarters that comes to us and wants to retain their headquarters here that could potentially move. Part of that would require a minimum of 50 primary jobs. They must have their existing regional or national headquarter lease within the city limits. They have to renew their lease within the city limits for 5 to 10 years, depending where they are in their existing lease. And then they've got to invest a minimum of $1 million in capital investment. So traditionally, we would normally come here, workshop this, talk through it after we go to the EDC, but we wanted to kind of lean into the opportunity. We wanted to be bold and bring you this opportunity to make a quick action on so that we can proactively go out there in the market and hopefully keep our businesses here. So, sorry. Basically, just so you know, this would not replace our existing direct incentive policy, would be supplemental to it. We see this as an opportunity to take a 12-month kind of pilot approach. Our direct incentive policy would still remain in effect because it would apply to potentially some industrial projects or any other new construction of someone like an HCSS that might be building their own building and wanting to stay in Sugar Land. So this would be an additional program that would be offered to those businesses that approach us and are eligible that meet the existing requirements. So with that, do you have any questions for me? We did take this through EDC, had great discussions about it. They asked a lot of questions and yeah, I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Where's the money coming from?
It's in our Sugar Land Development Corporation budget. So we have a $1.7 million line item that's allocated to incentives every year. But this would be every company that would approach us and get an agreement would have to have a performance agreement, which we would then stipulate the payout. So potentially not even happen this year. And so we would be able to forecast it and budget it into future years.
Okay, thanks. Questions, anybody? Anyone? Jennifer?
This year? No.
William?
Have we tried this before?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So where have we seen success with a program like this? Just because I've never seen it.
So it is just an amplification of our existing cash grant program, the direct incentive program. It's a way to be very specific and very targeted to our office tenants that are headquartered here that are actively being poached from our community. So it's a refined version and very hyper targeted to an existing program. And then it is an approach that we took with the CVR energy agreement that was approved about 2 or 3 months ago.
When we talked about it, it was, we believe now, based on what we're seeing with companies, and a lot of it is centered around, just like it is in Fleur, in the energy corridor down on I-10 where my office is located. You've got free rent, you've got all these incentives. They'd love to poach our businesses. And we believe that a very, for lack of a better word, a bold response, something we haven't tried before, just like we talked about in the retreat for redevelopment. This is a similar kind of thing that's just targeted in keeping corporations. And we felt that staff developed a program. When it was presented to us, we were like, yeah, we're in, let's go. I believe it's that urgent.
And I think it's a very creative idea. I was just kind of like, where did you guys come up with this? It's really a creative idea. I don't see a downside. I'm kind of curious, what's the history? And I think that helps a
Yeah.
lot. Thanks. Yeah.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, one of the questions I had for EDC was why 6,000? Where'd we pull that number from? And it's the latest contract we just did with CVR based on the number of employees that they have. And so if it worked for that company to retain them, then it just makes sense that we'll be able to retain other companies in the future. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Kamali and a second by Zimmerman. Please vote. Okay, and it passes 6-0. Thank you, Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, you're next on the director's report,
Yes,
item
sir.
number 5.
All right, so I don't have a ton to report today. The team has actively got some great business retention meetings happening, some travel that's coming up to meet with some site selectors. Obviously, hopefully y'all are all watching the Astros and helping support and cheer them on in the World Series and our good friends at the Space Cowboys. Yeah, well, yeah, it's 7 o'clock, right? And then I wanted to take a quick minute to introduce Chandler. He is our new Economic Development Corporation coordinator. And he comes to us he got his undergrad at Ole Miss and his graduate at A&M. You know, it's okay. We're keeping the SEC trend going. So, but yeah, we're really excited to have him here. He just moved here. Today is his second day on the job, which is super exciting. And he's going to be training to be our data guru. So stay tuned, but we're really excited to have him here. Okay.
Arkansas.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Sure thing.
Item number 6, closed executive session. Closed executive session is authorized by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with Section 551.087 deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. Do I need to read the rest of this? Where'd Meredith go? Okay, for the purpose of deliberation regarding the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect, the city seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the city. And we'll be hearing from Elizabeth Huff, Director of Economic Development, Devin Rodriguez, Deputy Director of Economic Development, and Jim Calloway, Director of Special Projects. Please now recess to the council dining room.